Hidden deep in the heart of Alabama lies a cemetery with no owner and nearly lost to time. But buried here are war heroes, pioneers, and brothers torn apart by the Civil War. Who were they? And why has this place been forgotten? Today, we uncover the secrets of the Ware Family Cemetery before history fades forever. What happens when a cemetery has no owner and its history is left to fade away? And what if I told you this forgotten graveyard holds the remains of war heroes, pioneers, and brothers divided by the Civil War? Hey guys, I'm William with Exploring History, and today we're uncovering the nearly lost story of Ware Cemetery, where history is hidden in plain sight, waiting to be rediscovered. But here's a twist. Despite its incredible history, this cemetery has been all but forgotten. No one owns the land, few even visit, and the stories buried here are slowly fading away. So why was it abandoned? And what can still be learned from the past? Stick around, because we're diving deep into a piece of history that deserves to be remembered. I've always loved driving around, searching for places where history lingers just beneath the surface, hidden stories waiting to be uncovered. There's something special about stumbling upon forgotten landmarks that time has almost erased. That's exactly what happened today as we found ourselves in Clay, Alabama, cruising down Old Springville Road. The whispering pines swayed gently above weathered barns, and it felt like we were moving through a living memory. It was here, tucked away behind rows of suburban homes and overshadowed by the steady hum of an Alabama power substation, that we discovered Ware Cemetery. Established around 1850, this small, unassuming plot of land holds the last traces of one of the region's earliest settler families, the Wares. It's the kind of place you'd never notice unless you were looking for it, a silent reminder of the lives that helped shape this part of Alabama long before modern life moved in around it. But this is no ordinary cemetery. The very stones beneath your feet echo with the stories of America's turbulent birth, where the passage of time has all but erased the memories of war, migration, and family feuds. Every marker here, etched in worn granite, tells a story of a life lived on the edge of history. Our journey begins with Samuel Ware, the earliest known burial in this forgotten resting place. Samuel was born in 1766, just a decade before America's Revolution swept across the colonies. At only 14, Samuel joined the Patriot ranks at the Battle of Kings Mountain, a pivotal clash during the American Revolutionary War, fought from 1775 to 1783, where colonial militias secured a critical victory against Loyalist forces. It was a turning point in the Southern campaign and helped solidify the path to American independence. Here was Samuel, a boy thrust into the fire of war, standing shoulder to shoulder with men twice his age, men fighting for a fledgling nation's future. It was this indomitable spirit that Samuel carried with him, a spirit passed down through the generations and now buried with him in the quiet Alabama soil. But Samuel Ware is not alone in this cemetery. Veterans of nearly every major conflict in America's early history rest here. Take Jacob B. Ware, for example, a soldier of the War of 1812, a conflict often dubbed the Second War of Independence. It was fought between the United States and Great Britain over issues like trade restrictions and British support for Native American tribes. Though it ended in a stalemate, the war instilled a stronger sense of national identity and pride. Then there's John American, who fought in the Florida Indian Wars, a series of conflicts in the early to mid-19th century between the United States and various Native American tribes, primarily the Seminoles. These wars, particularly the brutal Second Seminole War, were marked by fierce guerrilla tactics and the forced relocation of native tribes, further shaping the American South. Perhaps the most poignant tales come from the Ware brothers, Andrew and David. Born just 2 years apart, Andrew B. Ware fought for the Confederacy in the American Civil War, a devastating conflict that pitted North against South over the future of slavery and states' rights. The war tore the nation apart, claiming over 600,000 lives and leaving scars that still linger today. Meanwhile, his brother, David H. Ware, survived the war's bitter end, living through its aftermath until 1918. Brothers divided by war. Brothers who, even in death, remain tied to this soil, yet on opposite sides of history. The Civil War did not just tear apart a nation, it tore apart families. Andrew's life ended too soon, another casualty in a war that devastated the South. David, though he survived, witnessed the complete transformation of the world he knew. His grave, like so many others here, is a reminder of the human toll of war. Yet, despite its historical significance, Ware Cemetery has slipped into obscurity. Once a place of honor, its headstones now stand in silence, overshadowed by the march of time and progress. The last known burial here was in 1927, a final chapter in the Ware family saga, with Sally A. Ware closing the book on a story that began over a century before. Recognizing the importance of preserving this historical site, the City of Clay and the Clay Historical Society entered into a partnership in 2011 to raise funds for a protective fence around the cemetery, aiming to shield it from vandalism and neglect. Their collaborative efforts culminated in a dedication ceremony on June 9, 2012, celebrating the restoration and rededication of Ware Cemetery. But today, despite those efforts, the cemetery stands largely forgotten. The once celebrated dedication has faded into memory, and the land itself, now without a formal owner, sits in a kind of legal limbo. No one claims it, no one tends to it regularly, and it's heartbreaking to see such a significant piece of history slowly fading away. Without proper care, nature creeps in, and the weight of time takes its toll on the weathered stones. Still, the occasional visitor wanders through, perhaps a history enthusiast, a descendant, or someone simply drawn to the quiet pull of the past. They pause in front of the leaning markers, paying silent tribute to the soldiers and settlers who rest here, ensuring, if only for a fleeting moment, that these stories aren't completely lost. The grounds are still and quiet, the headstones surrounded by the whispers of the pines. It feels as if the land itself is holding its breath, waiting for someone to remember. And as we stand here, among the graves of these early settlers, we're faced with a sobering question. What happens when the stories of those who shaped our world are forgotten? When their resting places fade, overgrown by time, will we still remember their contributions? Or will their legacies disappear, lost in the relentless march of progress? Perhaps. If we take the time to remember, if we pause and listen to the echoes in places like Ware Cemetery, the past won't be entirely forgotten. Perhaps one day we'll rediscover the stories waiting to be told. Until then, these graves and the stories they guard will remain, waiting. And there you have it, the nearly forgotten story of Ware Cemetery, a place where history whispers through the trees, waiting to be remembered. From Revolutionary War soldiers to brothers divided by the Civil War, these graves hold stories that deserve to be told. Thank you so much for coming along on this journey. If you love uncovering hidden history, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an adventure. And if you enjoyed this episode and would like me to explore more cemeteries like this, or cemeteries in general, let me know in the comments below. Your suggestions help shape future adventures. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and as always, I'm your host, William, and I can't wait to see you next time when we explore moments that made history.